These past 10 days worked because people showed solidarity. People stood behind tactics that they didn't agree with because they stood behind a common goal.
Thank everyone throughout the Northwest, from Port Townsend all the way down to Portland and elsewhere, who heard the call for action and they came to Olympia to assist us in our struggle against the militarization of our backyard. They came not just to be in the front lines, but also to participate in any needed support work. So I'd like to emphasize the fact that for all the people who are struggling and resisting in the front lines, there were tons of people working behind the scenes. These were the folks who provided the logistics, the intelligence, the jail support, media communications, and RV and street medic assistance. So thank you. And the drum and bagpipe band from Portland that marched and performed in front of the line of riot cops on Sunday morning, that was beautiful. Thank you to all the community members who stood by us and to all the local businesses who donated food to us. And when I mention community members, I want to emphasize that there really is no distinction between the community members and the demonstrators. We are the community, so thank you. Now, the Olympian, however, or more precisely the Olympian editorial board and the Olympian's executive editor, they speak for themselves. Quite predictably, they have decided to condemn us. Their message is the same message as it has always been. You've got the right to oppose the war, and you have the right to voice your opposition, but you don't have the right to do anything about it. Even before the port militarization resistance, the Olympian editorial board has been criticizing us constantly, over and over and over. And then they have the nerve to say that we are, quote, tarnishing the anti-war effort. Well, seeing how the Olympian editorial board has never been part of the anti-war effort, I think we should be the ones to dictate to them, not the other way around. They say we are whining about the police violence. Tell that to Olivia, age 14, who's going to be speaking soon. If she was doing something wrong, they could have arrested her, but no, they had other ways of dealing with her. There was another individual, a young man who was skateboarding down Capitol Way. He wasn't involved in any of the demonstrations. A convoy of striker vehicles happened to be going by him, and the police shot him 4 times, once in the chest, 3 times in the back. He fell off his skateboard and 2 police officers beat him in the face with their batons. Then they just left him there and moved on. They tell us to be civil. We're here to tell them there is no civility in using our backyard for their war operations. There is no civility in forcing us to watch in silence or in symbolism the convoys of military equipment moving to and from the battlefield, supporting the war and enabling the occupation. When our inaction equals consent to war and occupation, there is no civility. Civility is a pretense that hides the mass murder and destruction that our nation has unleashed in the Middle East and elsewhere. As long as we go about our daily lives, and as long as our lives remain uninterrupted by the stories of the lives that we violently disrupt, then the only thing that civility is good for is enabling war and occupation to continue. We understand that the road that leads to Iraq goes through Olympia. The fact that this road goes through Olympia is a warning to us, and it reminds us that we are complicit, but it also empowers us to do something about it. Let's tell the Port of Olympia, let's tell the City Council, let's tell the OPD, Fort Lewis, Congress, and the White House, and let's tell the world that Olympia is no revolving door for war, and we're going to make sure of that.
It was definitely 11 days of democracy in action, 11 days of unity in opposition to the use of our port as a revolving door of military machinery furthering this illegal and immoral war. I stand as an Indigenous woman, as a woman of a sovereign nation. I stand against the use of this port. I stand against the use of our port to support the genocidal oppression of a sovereign people who did nothing to us, who did nothing to our country, and who pose no threat to us.
If we were out here waving flags and getting arrested for something that didn't have to do with the war in Iraq, I don't know if it would be the brutality that we faced. We have to think about that. And I want you all to remember that by facing this brutality, we're facing the brutality in Iraq.
First, I'd like to ask everyone to just take a moment of silence to honor the 43 members of this brigade who did not come home with their equipment.
Yeah.
We do what we do for them and for all of the others who don't come back or who come back not whole. And now I'd like to ask for everyone to take the hand of someone next to you or near you. I want there to be an unbroken chain among all of us here. We talk a lot about the power of the people, the power of the sisters, and I just wanted to remind all of you that it is a real, tangible thing that we are talking about. It's what community looks like. This is what resistance looks like. I have never been more ashamed of my country, and I have never been more proud of my community.
And it did hurt really bad, and it still hurts, I can still feel it. And I think it's ironic because he hit me over my heart. And as much as the bone and the muscle still hurts, my heart is still so warm.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.